Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. It is Danny, as you know, and today is going to be a little sit down video just going over my dental journey. If you don't know me personally, then you probably are like, wow, good teeth, but it was a long journey to get here. So this video, if you see the title, it is just saying that you do not need veneers, and I say that because a lot of people nowadays think that to get a perfect smile they have to get like veneers or like so much crazy dental work over their like natural teeth, or like shave down their natural teeth to get a nice smile. And all power to the people who do that. Sometimes they look really nice, and that's like the preference that they want. But this is just my journey on how I got my smile currently with really bad teeth to begin with, and I was missing an adult tooth, so I had to get an implant. But yeah, let's jump right in. So I know with teeth, a lot of it can come down to genetics, and just unfortunately my genetics, my teeth were not good. I know some people can just have like really straight, nice teeth from the very beginning when they grow in. My teeth personally were jacked up. And I can say that now because I'm on the other side of it. I had problem with crossbite, my teeth were crooked, crowded, everything that you can imagine as far as like straightening them I needed, as well as my genetics, just luck of the draw, I did not have an adult tooth in the front. So this tooth right there is actually an implant, and I just wasn't born with an adult tooth above that tooth originally. So for 23 years of my life I had a baby tooth, and I didn't realize it was a baby tooth until about, I think it was maybe 8th grade, when it started to decay and like chip, and I was like, this is weird. An adult tooth doesn't do that. I took pretty good care of my teeth for being in 8th grade. Obviously probably not perfect, but my tooth shouldn't have been chipping. So I went back to the dentist, had them do an x-ray, and they're like, yeah, this is definitely a baby tooth and you have nothing above it, so here are the options. That included a implant potentially, a bridge. I think those were maybe the two main options, or just taking one of the teeth over here and pulling it together and like shaping it, and that would have looked really weird because of the tooth that it was. Of course it was a front tooth and not a back tooth, because if it was a back tooth that would have been so much easier to pull them together or whatever, because it doesn't need to blend with my smile. But that wasn't the case. I kind of left it for a while because the first step was that my teeth were so crooked, and I pretty much knew at that point I wanted to get an implant, because that was one, going to be the most like permanent option, and two, it wasn't going to mess up any of my other teeth. So if you don't know what a bridge is, a bridge actually like shaves down two of the teeth beside the tooth that you're missing, and they put like 3 teeth on, and it fills in the gap of the one you're missing. But in order to do that, kind of like veneers, you have to shave the 2 teeth down, and I just didn't want to do that. Like, I was so young, this was going to be something that I had to do for the rest of my life. Like, I needed something that was going to make me confident and not like give me issues in the future, and those other options, it was going to be issues. So I knew I wanted to get an implant, but obviously dental work is, 1, expensive, but 2, my teeth were really crooked. So I'm going to put some pictures into what it looked like, but basically I didn't do anything with my teeth until I was 19 years old. I found out I had a baby tooth in like 8th grade. So when I was able to start exploring orthodontic work, that was again when I was 19. And let me just show you what my teeth looked like before. I'll pop up a better picture, but I just want to show you on my phone. That is pretty much what we were working with. Like, I had a crossbite, I had my baby tooth that was not supposed to be there, like all the things were messed up. I have a canted smile naturally, so the structure of my gums like kind of can't, instead of like sitting straight, they sit just like kind of at a diagonal, but that's just the structure of my mouth. So orthodontic work is not cheap, and it just wasn't in the cards for me whenever I was younger. So I waited until I was able to get a job, pay for it myself with consistent income. So one day I was driving down the road, I think to work, when I was like 19, or maybe I was 18 going on 19, and I heard this orthodontist office doing like a promotion where you could do like $100 down payment, which that was a big thing. It's like I just couldn't put thousands of dollars down at that time. And then 2, they would take monthly payments. So that was another one of my issues as to why I couldn't do it, because like a lot of dental offices want like the big lump sum all in once, or like 2 big payments or whatever. So this was like the perfect opportunity for me to start my orthodontic work, and it was for Invisalign too. So being 19 at the time, I did not want to have braces. Just personally, like I would have if I had to, but the fact that I could do Invisalign and it would blend into my smile more and I wouldn't have to deal with all the metal was great. I will say Invisalign, I have a lot of people ask me about like my journey with Invisalign and like how much it costed and just like, is it worth it compared to braces? And I think that as long as you are wearing them, it was 100% worth it. It was about, overall with the payments and like the time frame I had to do it, it was about $5,000. Again, my office took monthly payments, which helped me out so much. And by the time I was done with my treatment, it was paid off. The Invisalign aspect, you have to wear the retainers every single day for like a majority of the day, like 22 hours of the day. So like basically you take them out when you're not eating. Paying for it myself definitely helped me wear them because I didn't want to pay all this money and my teeth just like were still as bad as they were before, or like not making progress how they should be because I'm just not wearing them. That's just irresponsible on my part. But Invisalign for me personally, loved it. Obviously there was some soreness and everything, but I loved how flexible it was, that I could take them out and take them in, and I still saw all the progress I needed to see with it. So my Invisalign journey started from 2019 and ended I think in about 2022. The first day I got my Invisalign was the day I took this picture, and it was January 24th of 2019. So that's about 6 years ago now at this point. And then my Invisalign journey I think was supposed to take around 2 years. It did take a little bit longer just because I started my Invisalign in Ohio. That was where my orthodontic office was. And then in 2020, I moved to Arizona. So that stemmed an issue, but it was nice because the Invisalign aspect, a lot of orthodontic offices do the scans. So my office just got in contact with a local office near me. I went and got the scan there, and then they had to send it and get it printed from my office in Ohio. So it took a little bit longer because of those extra steps, but it probably only added like maybe 6 months, I would say, onto the end of it, just because of the time frame and everything of getting that all figured out and printed. Okay, and then fast forward about 3 years, so maybe a little over 3 years, this was the final day that I got my final scan for my like permanent like retainer that I would wear just nightly at this point for Invisalign. And then I also got my little attachments off, but I got those like taken off and everything, and that was on September 13th of 2022. So this was the picture I took the night that my teeth were complete as far as straightening wise. After that, there was still a long way to go. At least they were straight, and I could finally explore getting my implant, which if you can see by the picture, I still had my baby tooth there. It was getting worse, so I was confident as far as my teeth were straight, but not so confident as far as like that baby tooth made a really big difference, because it was starting to get opaque and not look like cohesive anymore, because it just wasn't supposed to be in my mouth at that point that long. So at this point, I was still in Arizona, and coming up in the beginning of 2023, I moved twice in 2023 to 2 different states. But during that time, I was starting to explore like pricing and everything of implants. Then we moved to Florida, and that's when I actually like started to seriously explore like, hey, I need to get this tooth out. Like, it's not looking good. It's horrible for my confidence. I need to get this taken care of. So if you don't know what an implant is, it's basically where they drill like a screw into your bone and put like a fake crown tooth on it. Drilling into bone, there's a healing process associated with that, and it is expensive. So I kind of took it step by step. So you can realistically get your baby tooth out, or like the problem tooth, if you have a chipped tooth, some people have to get like their adult tooth taken out and get an implant. But realistically, you can get that out and do the implant immediately if you have the scheduling like that. But I wanted to break up the payments and just the time frame and everything to make it more manageable, because again, the whole procedure of an implant is about another $4,000 to $5,000 depending on where you go, because when I was in Nashville I got a quote and it was like $8,000 $9,000 for just one implant, but then in Florida it was like $3,000 less. So that was great, but I still wanted to break it up in gaps. So what I did personally was I got my baby tooth out and I got what was called a flipper. And this is my flipper. If you've ever seen a retainer, it's a little imprint of like your roof of your mouth, and literally all it is a tooth. So instead of having my baby tooth there, I would pop this in and I had a full smile of nice teeth because I had straight teeth, and then I just had that flipper fill in the spot of where I got my baby tooth out. So that takes me to January of last year. So pretty much 5 years after I started my Invisalign, I finally got my baby tooth out. So this is one of my the last pictures I took with my baby tooth. This was on the 18th of January last year, 2024. And then on January 26th, I got my flipper. So I got my baby tooth taken out and then I got this in. And you can see right there, it looked a little bit wonky because my gum was a little swollen from getting my tooth out, but you can see it fills in the gap there. It changed my confidence so much. Like it literally, that flipper, this little thing, changed my life because it made me so much happier just with my smile. I didn't feel insecure, and by the next day the swelling had gone down and my smile looked like this. I also had blonde hair at this point, so I look a little bit different, but it was a game changer. Like just getting the baby tooth out and getting the flipper helped me so much. But obviously having a flipper, I still didn't have an adult tooth there. So every time I ate, I had to pop out the flipper. But at the time when I got my flipper, I finally got a consultation for my implant and to see the process of it. So because I had a baby tooth for 23 years, 24 years, my bone density above my tooth was starting to become a little bit like hollowed out. The doctor told me that I had to get obviously the implant, but also potentially a bone graft, and he was gonna figure that out if it was gonna be all in one step or in 2 steps whenever I did the surgery. I finally did the surgery in July of last year. So it's been about 7 months since I got the actual implant surgery. And then with the implant, there was the healing process that you get the actual implant surgery. And luckily they were able to do the implant and the bone graft at once. The process of the implant and healing was actually a lot better than I was expecting. I terrified myself like this whole time, just like watching videos of all the years that I knew I was gonna have to get one. I was like, I did not know what to expect. It was only 5 days of just like being uncomfortable and swelling. The 3rd day, which they warned me was the worst, was swelling. Half of my face was like so swollen, everything was puffy because it was just like trauma basically into my bone structure there. So my whole face swelled. By day 5, it was fine, and I had like a little bit of outside bruising on the inside, but that was it as far as like pain goes. I got a extend release like injection, non-opioid, and that was like game changer. I honestly didn't feel like any pain during it or like after for the recovery, which was great. So you just have to eat like soft foods and everything for the first like couple of days. Everything you would do for like just like a major dental surgery, similar to wisdom teeth, just like not as intense, I think, actually. After I got the implant, I had to wait a little bit longer, so I was wearing my Invisalign retainer and had a little like tooth mold put into it to fill the gap. And then after a couple weeks, when the swelling went down completely, I was able to fit my flipper back in, and I wore that until about September. And I got my temporary crown. So with my gums, because I had a baby tooth there so long, they needed to shape the gums for a crown so it didn't look weird and so the crown fit. So I had a temporary tooth crown for a while, and one thing with the temporary tooth was it was really hard to like match my teeth because the material is different, and so it's kind of more opaque and the color matching is really hard. So this was what it looked like right after I got it, and the color match was not good at all. So it's this one here, and I was like, I can't tell if it's like the dye that was from like them checking my bite. And that's what they thought it might be. And they were like, let's just wait a day and figure out if it looks okay after a day. And after a day, I was like, no, this is not matching. Like, this is horrible. I would rather have my flippers still. Back into my oral surgeon and they fixed it. And this is what it looked like. So it's this one right here. The color was great. I can't really tell from these pictures, but it was just kind of bulky. Like they had to really bulk the tooth up to make sure that it wouldn't break because it's not a permanent tooth at that point. That leads me to my final stage of this process. I moved to California. I've moved a lot, but I moved to California in October, basically the end of September, and I knew that I wanted to go back to the original like implant doctor that I talked to in Arizona. So I was like, great, this is a perfect opportunity. I literally live like 5 hours from Phoenix. So I'll drive there and get my final crown done there, because now I'm across country from my oral surgeon where I got my implant done. So like that would be a whole flying scenario. So I was like, why don't I just drive 5 hours and go to the actual final cosmetic dentistry office that I wanted to go to. Leads me to November of last year. I made a little trip to Arizona and I got my final crown and everything in one day. It was super cool because they actually took my impressions and my scan and made a crown like same day in the office, and I was like amazed by it. So this was my smile the day that I got my final crown. This was the temporary, so that was going to be changed. Because I have a natural canted smile, like I mentioned in the beginning, I needed some like straightening, like some just like evening out of the teeth. So this is the one I got done. This is the opposite one. It was a little bit round, just because sometimes when you're missing the other one just like is smaller, and it was very slender and round, and I just wanted everything to be more like squared out. So I'll show you at the final. But those were some key things that not only was I gonna get the crown on, shaping and some bonding just to like literally make everything cohesive, because at this point, this was like the final appointment to like get my dream smile basically. And this was right after. I'll pop the pics up after. But the day I got my crown, I was gonna get some whitening done as well. I had to come in the next morning. So the color of my crown was like a little off for the first day immediately after. And the next morning is when I got my whitening, and it literally just made everything cohesive. Like it was amazing. And this is the final pic. So I'll put the before and after up now, but basically I want to talk through everything that they did. So I got straightening for my teeth, and then got my final crown in that day. So it's this tooth right here that is a fake tooth. Very, very minor shaping on my two front teeth to like even them out. And then I had a really big canine tooth, so they did a little bit of shaping there. Then I got some bonding on that opposite tooth here to kind of square it out. And yeah, that's pretty much the final look. So I say all this to say that you do not need veneers. Like you can do that if you want. You can shave down your natural teeth if that's like what you choose to do. But yes, this was a long process. It was 6 years of straightening my teeth, getting my teeth situated, and I would have been way younger if I was able to get my orthodontic stuff younger. But I'm only 24 now, and I have my dream smile. I'm so confident. A smile affects someone's confidence. It's the first thing that people see whenever they see you. It's the first thing that you see in yourself whenever you take pictures. Like, it changes the game whenever you have confidence in your smile. So that is my tooth journey. I have my dream smile. I keep up with my whitening and stuff. I take care of my teeth. It was $10,000 over the course of 6 years, but it was so worth it. I love my teeth so much now and I'm so happy with them. So that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed walking down a little memory lane of my dental journey. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can stay in the loop for my next videos coming out. And can't wait to see you again.